This is Eeveelution, a fan-made album/song compilation released on the 3rd of June in 2016. Work done by these lovely composers, a few of whom you may recognize, that sadly has recently had its download link killed despite the original page being saved by the Wayback Machine. And so, after realizing I've had this album for about a year now, I want to just sort of talk about it and praise it in honor of what was lost. I've liked Pokémon for a while now, ever since I was a small child around the time when the Wii came out, and have also recently been chipping away at my sanity playing rhythm games. And well, that's kind of how I found this album. I can give credit to A Dance of Fire and Ice for introducing me to more of Frums' discography, which led me to listen to more of her music on SoundCloud, which then made me see the album cover there, then the website in the track description, only to find out it was a dead Tumblr page, which then made me use the Internet Archive to go back when it wasn't, and luckily still downloaded in 2023 when the download link was still alive in the Wayback Machine. Now yes, I know that I'm a Swampert guy, because I talk about Gerald a lot. I mean, he's my boy, I've known him for years. But I've had this album saved for a while now, and let me tell you, I wish they didn't kill the download link because these songs are so good and they all flow into each other so well. But gushing aside, this collaboration was hosted by these lads with the goal of creating a song compilation for Eevee and each of its evolutions, which I'll refer to as the Eeveelutions from now on for convenience. And I will go in order of each song and say which Eeveelution it corresponds to, a brief description of its feel and whatnot, and overall bring light to this hugely underrated album. The first song, which roughly translates to Everyday Life with Eevee, corresponds to, you guessed it, Eevee. But there's not too much to say here. The title of this song sets it up to feel pretty average, where it's good, but it has very little to make itself greatly stand out. Composer AAAA has made a simple, catchy, yet normal sounding song with a nice all chiptune composition that represents Eevee's characteristics very nicely. However, like the so-called evolution Pokemon, this melody serves as the starting point, and you will notice that when we talk about every song in this album, you can hear some variation of it in all of them, perfectly representing how Eevee can evolve into many different forms that still call back to it to some degree. The second song, by Kohaxy, simply titled Melt Poison Sleep, corresponds to Vaporeon. The title, with Melt, most likely references the Pokédex entry which states how Vaporeon can melt and disappear into water, learn acid armor as alluded to by Poison, and the sleep part, while I'm not entirely sure, can possibly imply how water bodies are calm and soothing most of the time, and or how Vaporeon can learn rest through TMs. The song starts off with a very groovy beat before transitioning into a very calming synth, similar sounding to a lot of water levels in many games, before combining the two at the end to create this very upbeat tune that makes you feel like you're seeing all the beauty of the ocean while just chilling and vibing in general. Overall, it's a great representation of Vaporeon's chill, yet sometimes energetic nature. The third song, translating the star of the Come On, represents Jolteon, and instantly hits you hard with some breakcore at 250 BPM and a little chiptune from the first song, capturing the zippy 130 bass speed of the electric Pokemon perfectly, yet expected from Frums' style of music. As of right now, I'm still a bit unsure of what the title is meant to represent, so if you guys know, comment down below. My best assumptions are that Jolteon can learn Swift, which is an attack with stars, and the all caps "come on" is meant to further give the feeling of high energy and fast pace. The song then continues by repeating the beat and the melody a few more times before building up to what is, in my opinion, the best drop in the entire album. It then repeats the first part of the song, ending with the same tune-based samples as the beginning, and an abrupt cutoff. It really sort of captures Jolteon's fast nature and, in a way, what happens when animals get zoomies in general, the build-up, the time of hyperactivity, and slowing down, which I think is pretty creative and, along with the quick nature of the song, makes for one of my favorite songs of this album. Also, I'm totally not biased towards Frums. The fourth song, by Asahi33, which for some reason has a different translation from every translator I try, so in that case I'll go with Google Translate's Walking Buchan, corresponds to Flareon. Now, I'm gonna be entirely honest, while this is a good song, I can't really see any obvious connections to the Eeveelution, or Fire in general. Don't get me wrong, it's a nice chill, vibey type song, but I struggle to see how this represents Flareon, though it could just be due to the fact that there might be something different culturally about Pokemon in Japan that I don't understand. If I had to make a connection with my small brain though, I would say that Buchan calls to Flareon's Japanese name Booster, and the chill vibe of the song along with walking is since it seems to be the most dog-like and cuddly natured out of the Eeveelutions, though the latter is merely my interpretation and is in no way proven by any outside sources. After further looking at this, however, I think I can see a bit more of the connection, and I'm able to appreciate the song a bit more as a result. The fifth song, simply titled Type Psycho by EBIMAYO, is about Espeon and directly calls to its psychic typing in the title. The song instantly starts off with Psytrance, the feeling of it perfectly coinciding with not only Espeon's psychic nature, but is also a combination of psychedelic and trance, further pushing the theme of the mind and such. The song does repeat a lot for the entire track, with a bit of a break in the middle which removes the kicks for a short time, giving the synth and other instruments more of the spotlight, before continuing with the same banger array from the beginning for the rest of the way. Other than that though, not many other features aside from its catchiness for its almost 5-minute runtime. However, I am biased because Psytrance is one of my favorite EDM genres, and so it's another one of my favorites of the album, and a standout song for me due to that reason. The sixth song, by Nay, translates to Moonlight Stroll, which represents Umbreon and its dark typing. It is a very slow song in G major, with an instant feeling of spookiness, very reminiscent of Halloween, perfectly complementing Umbreon's typing and design. With the slow and casual percussion, as well as the soft feeling of the instruments, it definitely does convey a casual stroll under the moon's light very well. For me, it also feels like there's some other stuff that jumps out at me. The casual feeling of the song kind of feels like an informal band jam session, and even with how straightforward the song is, it still feels like there's an air of mystery to it, furthering the theme of Umbreon's ominous nature. Overall, it's a vibe that really does feel like it's telling you, hey, there's no rush, just relax. And another great way to alternate from the previous energetic tune to a more slow-paced and chill one. The seventh song, by梅干茶漬け, roughly translates to Kusabue Traveler, and it represents Leafeon. Now, after doing a bit of digging and research, it seems that the way that the title connects to the grass evolution is that Kusabue is related to reeds and grass, as well as pipe instruments, thus meaning the title can be interpreted as Grass Traveler, and since Leafeon is a grass type, it makes sense. The song starts off with a very fast, cheerful, and bright mood, before calming down just a bit with a nice reed pipe melody, before slowly building up with percussion, then going back into that fast feeling tempo while adding even more instruments, continuing the same general pattern until the end, even throwing in a key change too, transposing everything up. It gives off this strong vibe of skipping through grass fields on a nice bright and sunny day, and it feels like a rush of dopamine and happiness throughout the entirety of it, which I thoroughly enjoy. The eighth song translates to Diamond Dust Dancer, is made by Xiba, and corresponds to Glaceon and the Ice type. The title is very creative in its reference, as when ice, or snow for that matter, is very fine and is falling under a light source, it looks like it sparkles, almost making the landscape feel covered in tiny, clear diamonds, which also nicely connects to the ice typing as well. As such, the song does juxtapose itself with the previous track due to the very different theming. The song starts off with a Wonderland type feeling, adding very slow piano with some chimes, before building up to the main part with some very holiday-esque sounds with more piano, percussion, and even the high-pitched dinging noise, possibly a glockenspiel, further adding to the ice theme and painting a picture of taking a nice walk through the snow during the colder months. In conclusion, it represents a chilly environment a Glaceon would probably love, yet also gives off really warm and cozy vibes. The ninth and final song, which translates to Ace Evolution, connects to Sylveon and is composed by Sak. This song is another one that I had a hard time finding connections to the Eeveelution, so again, I'll just have to interpret it with what I can gather through digging up stuff. I know it might be loose, so just bear with me please. From what I can think of and see here, the title being Ace Evolution might either be a bias that Sylveon is the favorite, or Ace as in how Sylveon is really good at reading and controlling feelings and emotions, as referenced in a few Pokédex entries. As for the song, it is an extremely upbeat tune, probably why it's referred to as kawaii core, in a major key, giving off really good vibes and overall tying into the theme of Sylveon being a quote-unquote happiness evolution in a way extremely well. The sort of tranquil vibes it gives off also makes a great ending to the album, almost saying thanks for listening and hope you enjoyed this album. The beat then goes on to repeat itself, while the melody changes up a bit, yet still references the melody of the first song, ending off the whole album by removing each part one by one, and finally, decrescendoing to a soft stop, concluding our journey with all of these Eeveelutions. All things considered, for an album that's supposed to be about the Eeveelutions, I'd say all of the composers did an immensely and insanely good job, especially considering the fact that the download for this album was free. And I highly recommend checking out more of their music outside of this album, so I'll put links to them down in the description and the comments. However, to me, it's a bit disappointing that this album isn't more popular, even in more niche communities, which is a small bummer since these songs slap, as well as the fact that some of these artists are bigger names now than they were back then, which really does make me wonder if the album would have done better now if it was released today. But putting all that aside, I am happy that I was able to find it in the first place. However, I still am left with a couple more thoughts as well. Does this mean that I like any of the Eeveelutions more than I did before? Probably. Maybe. But does this make me fear when a new Eeveelution possibly comes out, this album will be somewhat outdated? Absolutely. Hey guys, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me and makes the time and effort that I put into this video feel a lot more worth it. So leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe.